Yeah, hello. Very good morning to all. Not the very good morning. Now it is 11:15. So as we were discussing from the initial stage for designing this course with the our professor Vaibhav and team, and you also, Ms. Isha Gupta. And basically, first of all, thanks for inviting on this launch of Executive Postgraduate Certification Program, which is the need of the hour, net zero strategy and sustainability leadership. So I extend my heartfelt appreciation to IIM Kashipur and P Manifold EV Academy for conceptualizing a program that is not only relevant but absolutely essential in the current global context. As our all earlier speakers and panelists also referred about the importance and the way forward, how to go for doing this course successfully. If you will see, there's a continuous research and innovation going on, which is supporting to the carbon neutrality. Recently, if you will see the Nobel Prize in Chemistry 2025, that is very big support for a boost for carbon capture technology. The scientists Sushumu, Richard, and Omar have won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for developing metal organic framework that is called MOFs. So material that can store and separate gases with remarkable efficiency. And a member of the Nobel Committee also explained it like a small amount of such material can be almost like Hermione's handbag in Harry Potter. It can store huge amount of gases in a teeny volume. So that is that such type of invention are also coming up. So their discovery holds real promise for the climate action, like MOFs can capture carbon dioxide from industrial processes such as cement, steel production. They also have potential in water harvesting, air filtration, and removing pollutants from water, and so on. So this is a small, you can say, the approach which is coming up from the innovation. So science is proving to be one of the most powerful tools in solving the climate crisis, turning back through chemistry into real world action. So this is the one example. So with this, I want to also explain something about our industry from we represent, that is India Glycols Limited. And India Glycols Limited has always believed that industrial growth must go hand in hand with the environmental stewardship. Our journey begins with a unique vision to build a chemicals and specialty products company based on renewable, green, and bio-based feedstocks. For decades, we have been pioneers in integrating sustainability into core business strategy long before the global shift towards net zero because mainstream. Because we have initiated our this industry back since this no long back in 1989. So since then we are practicing these practices. So referring to the some key aspects of IGL sustainability leadership, which includes the bio-based manufacturing, like using molasses derived ethylene oxide route. Ethylene oxide is a very versatile molecule. Whatever you name the industry, it have the presence in some form. A distinct differentiator that significantly lowers our carbon footprint. Then transition to the renewable energy with continuous efforts to enhance energy efficiency, water stewardship through recycling, rainwater harvesting, near zero liquid discharge practices, then circulatory initiatives, waste to resource programs, and continuous innovation in green chemistry. So new molecules are also developed, which is also helping to our businesses. Then sustainability linked frameworks, responsible care, sustainability reporting practices as BRSR, which is also mandatory for first 1,000 industries in India, and ongoing work in GHG inventorying, carbon reduction, life cycle based assessments, and long term net zero strategy development. So these are the few key aspects of our company from where we represent. For us, sustainability is not a separate function. It is a strategic driver, a value creator, and a commitment to future generation. So if you will see the with reference to industry imperatives toward net zero, the world today is seeing a historic shift. India has committed, we know, to net zero by 2070, along with aggressive targets on non-fossil energy, emission intensity reduction, and green hydrogen expansion. For industries, particularly chemical, energy, transportation, and manufacturing sectors, this transition is both challenging and full of opportunity. So what are the key drivers shaping the future include, because that is also must for such type of course out of which the leaders come from, tomorrow's leaders will be there on sustainability, regulatory push for decarbonization, rising global expectations on ESG compliances, supply chain pressure for low carbon materials, investor and customer preference for sustainable companies, then rapid technological advancement in electrification, green hydrogen, biofuels, digital MRV, and carbon markets. So the pace of change means the organizations will increasingly require leaders who understand net zero pathways, climate risk, sustainability accounting, circularity, and green transition management. And this course, which is the supporting to those leaders to expertise in these fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Isha, and good morning, everybody. I would just like to echo some of what's already been said. I think the learners, you'll be commended for taking this important step now to join this program. I'm very interested in partnering with P Manifold and EV Academy and IIM Kashipur to help deliver this program. I just want to put it into context how important it is. Through some of my own journey as a company, following a lengthy 35-year career with multinationals like Procter & Gamble, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and IBM, I took up the cause of climate change following watching Al Gore's film, The Inconvenient Truth, because as an organic chemistry undergraduate way back in the 70s, I hadn't really got my head around the climate change issue, and that film did it for me. So I went back to university in Edinburgh in 2008 to study for a one-year master's program in climate change, because I was concerned that we weren't doing very much about the issue. And on graduating, I formed Carbon Masters, and I spent the next several years helping companies measure and manage their carbon footprint in order, at that time, not to achieve net zero, because there was no much discussion about that, but to take carbon out of their businesses. And I did carbon footprint exercises with airports, with companies in far away as Latin America, steel manufacturers. So I became familiar with the challenges companies have about taking the first step towards a net zero journey, about getting an understanding of what carbon is in their businesses and then taking it out. I had the good fortune when I was in Edinburgh to meet my co-founder, who'd come all the way from Bangalore to do the program. So in 2012, we came to India and formed an Indian company. And we naively thought back then that we could do what we had been successfully doing in Europe and Latin America, which was to go to companies and ask them whether we could measure their carbon footprint and help them reduce it. Well, I have to say in 2012, we got absolutely no takers. Indian companies back then weren't remotely interested in measuring their carbon footprint, much less doing something about it. So we then thought, well, if Indian companies would not take advice, would they buy a solution? And so very serendipitously and through lots of iterations, we got into the business that we're currently in, where we take the organic fraction of the municipal solid waste stream, which if we weren't processing it would end up in a landfill releasing methane, a very toxic greenhouse gas. And we convert that to two climate-friendly products. The first, a carbon neutral gas, biomethane, and an organic fertilizer, which puts carbon back in the soil. And it's quite interesting that as we were developing that, what's accelerated the whole dialogue in India is Mr. Modi's commitment to put India down a net zero path by 2070. And that, for me, has completely changed the debate between where our clients currently are in terms of asking two questions that I believe you as learners are going to get from this program, to be able to answer those questions for broader society and companies is, well, first of all, what does net zero actually mean? There's lots of talk about it, but what is it on a practical level? What does it mean? And then what steps do I need to take in order to get there? And they'll differ by industry based on the various challenges they are. But I believe this program will give you the right foundation in order to answer those questions. And what role do solutions such as decarbonizing your fossil fuel with low carbon gases, or sequestering carbon back into Indian agricultural soils, so that the CO2, so the carbon can remain in the soil and not get released as carbon dioxide, which would start to impact the climate. So it's these kind of areas that I think our practical experience and what we've learned today, and we're now working interestingly with companies in India that are setting net zero targets. Some of them very ambitiously, and we're working with them to see in what way the solutions that we're developing can help them on their path. So we've become aware of the challenges in this, and there are many and several. One of the major challenges that India will have, even though one could argue that, well, 2070 is a long way away, but India is going to be the largest, fastest growing energy market in the world every year for the next 30 years. So regardless of carbon and climate, if we do not intercept and ensure that that energy growth takes a low carbon path, the rest of the world will have a real struggle to deliver 2 degrees centigrade, because India's role in what it can do with climate is going to become pivotal. So it's really important that India takes that net zero path, accelerates its net zero path, which means we're going to have to build the capability across society where individuals and leaders can take the right steps in order for India to get there. And it's one of the reasons why I'm here, why I continue to be here, because unless we can get India down a net zero path, my grandchildren are going to grow up in a scorched earth. So it's fundamentally important. So that's why I applaud P Manifold and IIM Kashipur for putting this program together, because as has been said, it's the real need of the hour. And I'm happy to contribute in any way I can in order to make it a success I'm sure it's going to be. Thank you very much.
We have a very power-packed industry panel. Next slide, please. And a lot of industry partners coming from diverse background who would be helping us during the program in the way of LCP, in the way of life consulting project, problem statements, and also through our leadership talk and furthermore exchange of knowledge, networking. I would like to mention we are getting the companies from decarbonization sector, circularity, EV ecosystem. We have dedicated sustainability partners, and we have more partners joining in as we move towards the LCP. All thanks to the industry representative team who has been working hard under the leadership of Twinkle and Sanjeev to take this forward.